Okay, it's time to get painting. What we're gonna do now is you're gonna be using this to figure out the shade of the color that you're painting it in with. I don't know if that makes sense, but you're looking at the shapes here, and you're gonna be shading, or you're gonna be painting them in with the color that you want according to how dark it is. So, like, this would be light color. This would be a gray version of the color. This would be a darker version of the color, and then eventually black. So you want to paint light to dark. I'm going to say it again. Paint light to dark. Don't start with black. Don't start with the gray areas. Start light to dark. Now remember, we're keeping this realistic, so you're going to want to find a paint color that you think your person's skin tone looks like. What I don't want to hear is, Mr. Thas, I don't know what color this person's skin is. You have the ability to look that up. All right? If you have one that you found off the internet, look it up yourself. If you get out of my book, ask me who it is, and look it up. If it's you, you know what your color looks like. If it's one of your family members, you know what they look like. I'm not going to help you with that. All right. So I'm going to start out with just this regular flesh tone. And I'm probably going to add a little bit of white to it. This cannot be stated enough, all right? People are different races. People have different color skin. So just make sure that you're trying your best to match that skin tone. What I'm doing here, the person I'm drawing is Caucasian, all right? So I'm going to use colors that based around that. Different people have different color skin. So what I'm about to use does not necessarily mean it's the exact same ones that you use. All right. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to squirt a few of them in here. Notice I got the cup up around it. Okay. I'm only going to do 2 pumps there, and then maybe 2 pumps of the white. There we go. And one of the other problems that people have right away is they use a brush that's too small. I like to actually use a bigger brush for a majority of it, and then if I have any little tiny details I need to do, that's when I use a smaller brush. So I'm just going to kind of mix that up. Okay, and then you're also going to need a paper towel because I want to get some of this big bunch of paint that I have on there off of it. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start painting it. I'm going to edge it out first. And then after I edge out, that's when I paint it in, the details. So, like I said, I'm looking at this, and I'm finding the light areas. The light areas, that's what I'm painting in right now. All right, so now this bears repeating. I'm doing the light areas first, but I'm only doing the light skin tones. Obviously, I've got light areas up in her hair, but the hair is going to be a different color. So I'm only doing the skin right now. So what I've done this time is I've done the light skin areas. I've got them all done. Now I'm going to go a shade darker. Work light to dark. So I've gotten the light areas. Now I'm going to go the light gray areas. So I'll show you what to do here in a sec. So now I've gotten the light areas. Now I'm going to go with a shade darker for the skin. You need to make sure you ingrain this in your head. It is so much easier to make a color lighter than it is to make it darker. If I have this cup and I add a drop of black to it, it is going to make it very, very dark. However, if I have this much black in here and I fill the entire cup with white, it's still not going to be pure white. It is so hard to make a color lighter than it is to make it darker. So I'm going to make this a little bit shade darker, but I only want a little bit of a shade darker, not too much. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to make a drop here. I'm just going to add a drop of brown at a time. Add a little bit, mix it up. See if it's a little bit darker, maybe one more drop. That's perfect, okay? Not too dark. Again, I'm going to take my paper towel here, wipe some of it off. Now I'm going to get the light brown, okay? Light brown areas. So now I'm going to go just a little bit shade darker. I'm going to add a tiny bit more brown. And one of my favorite to add to get this dark gray is just a tiny drop of blue. It's a great way to get like this good color without making it too, like it gets a good shadow to it. A little bit more blue here. A little bit more. Okay. Again, wipe off my brush. And now I'm going to get the dark gray areas. All right, so I'm done with doing the dark gray areas. You can see that there were a few places like right here, right over here, where I had painted over with a light gray, and then as I was painting it, I realized, oh no, that needs to be dark. That's one of the reasons we start from light to dark, is so that we can paint over mistakes that we made. It's easy to paint over with dark than it is with light. All right, now next we're going to go into the hair. We're going to do that even before we start doing the dark areas. The black areas are the very last thing that we're going to do. So, yeah, we'll go on to that next step, but go ahead and do the gray areas.